This is the X&C Podcast, your Xbox newscast, featuring Colteastwood and Mag, hosting industry interviews and gaming talk live on YouTube every Monday night at 5 p.m. on the West Coast, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. For all of you listening around the world, X&C Podcast is available on demand on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. Welcome to the show. Join the chat, hit the like button, and let's get into this week's topics with the Xbox Newscast. Welcome. This is Colteastwood, the decapitated voice you heard on the intro, and I'm rocking the Starfield jacket. It says,
what?
It says Colt. I think they gave
that's like fantastic.
I'm like Colt eats. That's what I should have put. Colt eats. Welcome to the show. Kind of a different show. The news has been kind of up and down, like bad and good. But I'm excited to be here. Mag, it's good to see you again.
Yes, I'm excited to be here. It is one day before Halloween, and I must say, tonight's the night for any of you Halloween folks out there. Tonight was the night that Michael Myers escaped from the institution before he went on his rampage. So happy Michael Myers night. Let's just hope he doesn't come to your neighborhood. If you live in Haddonfield, please leave. Just go somewhere else. Go to a Motel 6 on the highway somewhere. But anyways, I'm not wearing a Starfield jacket. I am wearing something a little bit funny because on Friday the 13th, just to be hilarious, I wore a Michael Myers shirt on Friday the 13th. So I figure on Halloween Eve, I'm wearing a Jason shirt.
Oh,
there it is. There it is. Yeah, there's my Jason shirt. No, I'm not wearing underwear, so I couldn't stand up all the way, folks. Let's keep it clean. We just started the show. So anyways, it's my Jason shirt. I've got my Freddy Krueger shirt for tomorrow. I'm all excited. Chat, you guys are already in here. We already got 400 people watching. Let's get into this week. Colt, we got some things to talk about tonight. Let's get into it, brother.
We do. And YouTube's like, oh, did you want to catch up to live so I can see it? I just fixed my mic. The audio program I used to make videos was like, did you want it at 20%? And so when I start the show, I'm like, hey, everybody, what's going on? But we appreciate you. And thanks in the chat for letting me know. And I get it. It looks like everything. I'll take one more check. We'll do a mic check. Everything looks sweet. Everything looks like it's in the red, where it shouldn't be. But we are here.
Someone in the chat. Oh, it was someone in the chat said, "Oh, Bad Out of Hades is like Mag is loud." I'm like, yeah, but that's normal. That's even when the mic is turned off. However, I'm a little more subdued tonight. I don't feel like screaming because I'm not upset about everything. We're gonna have a great show. Let's do this, Colt. Come on, baby.
Yeah, I mean, last week we had David Jaffe with us, and I felt like we were kind of in the back seat, and he had the reins. It was a really good time, but I'm excited for us to talk about the news today. And for those of you, the 400 people who just joined us, we're going to talk a little bit about. Get the radio voice going. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the games we've been playing. We're going to talk about some of the hot new games that are out. Some big reveals. I think we're going to get at the end of the week for maybe Xbox exclusives, or maybe just some big reveal for first party. We've also got to talk a little bit about what's going on with turmoil going on in the industry. The title of the podcast today is Xbox Dominates PlayStation. I'm going to explain why once you get outside that little bubble of the console, you'll kind of get a bigger picture of what's going on and where we're sitting and why people are running in the streets with, throwing off their clothes. It's been wild, but we're going to talk all about it. Before we get started, Mag, let's talk about what you've been playing, because people tune into a gaming podcast like, hey, do these guys actually play games?
Yeah, we do actually play games. I got to tell you, by the way, I know I had some people like go losing their minds and setting themselves on fire because I said I didn't spot any Spider-Man 2 bugs last week. Because I'm like 5 or 6 hours in, I haven't seen anything, right? Well, I experienced my first bug. It was a doozy. I got to tell you, it made my whole week. So I was playing Spider-Man 2, and there's a scene. There's no spoilers here if anybody cares or whatever. It's on Coney Island. There's a level on Coney Island, and I'm walking with MJ, right? So there's a staircase that goes down into. It is very romantic. I mean, Harry was the third wheel, but what are you going to do? So anyways, we're walking towards the Ferris wheel, right? And we're going down a staircase, and Harry's in front of me, and I'm standing here, and MJ's on my right. So we're walking down the stairs, and she's talking. So I turn and I go, where the hell is MJ? She didn't go down the stairs. She was Jesus walking on the air from the top stair, and she was just she was walking 20 feet above the ground, and she was up in the sky, and I'm like, MJ? So that was my first bug, and it took a while, and then all of a sudden she just dropped like a stone, and then she just appeared next to me again, and then that was it. So I thought that was a really funny bug. Anyways, either way, I was playing that. I put it down for a few days because, Halloween is on the horizon, folks. It's tomorrow. And I had to get back into Dead Island 2. And so this afternoon, because Monday's my day off, I rolled credits on Dead Island 2. I haven't finished. I haven't completed. Yes, I haven't completed it. You know me. I'm gonna go back and do the thing. The full completion. But I'll do that later. But I rolled credits on it. What a fantastic game! Great little story. A lot of fun. Great gore if you're into it, guys. I know it seems like a little late to the party, but you know me. I ain't gonna play a new game unless I finish all these old games. What the hell's the point of buying them at full price and they just sit in my catalog doing nothing, right? So, anyways, that's what I've been playing.
It looks and feels good, doesn't it? That Dead Island 2?
It's great. It moves well. The frames are great. The performance is excellent. Graphics are great. Like I said, the gore animations are excellent. I mean, there are some really great detail in there. When you got like a spiked bat or something like that, and some skinny mini zombie comes over and you just wail on him, right in the ribs, and it literally just rips open the whole side. And when you pull out, like literally guts are stuck to the spiked bat, and you could see the rib cage just dripping stuff out, and you're just like, half the time you're playing the game, you're going, oh my god, oh god, it is just. But it's
so
great.
wonderful in a strange sort of way. Yeah. It is like the most wonderful gore, and I remember it's like if my family walks in and I'm beating the crap out of a zombie in a bikini and the flesh is coming off, I feel like a terrible person, but it had to be done. And you put out a tweet this morning saying, or was it yesterday, that Insomniac gave you early access to Wolverine, and Mag had a clip with the Wolverine claws, and he was ripping through zombies out in the streets. Great fun.
Literally, I went through a guy's face in one of the clip because I grabbed him by the back of the head and I put the Wolverine claws, and it went through his face and out the other side of his head, and then his brain literally dripped down his back. And I'm just like, holy crap! How did these guys? Like, can you imagine them programming this and like coming up with the ideas and like, all right, let's do some visual. You know what I mean? Like inspiration or whatever, so like we could get the gore. Like they're probably playing with like cow's guts or something, and like, oh god. Anyway, either way, it was horrifying, but wonderful.
Please go play that game if you can find it on sale. Like you have to play it. It's that good.
I think it's on sale. I think it's on sale, or it was on sale, because there's a DLC that dropped today.
Yeah, and it got low scores, but
it didn't get a great score, which is funny because the main game got I think 2 points higher than what the DLC is getting. So I think
overall it's like a mid 70, but I mean,
is it?
I don't know. Yeah,
okay,
that game's way better than it's way better. I finished Spider-Man 2, and what a great punchy game from Insomniac, and I had a couple bugs where my character Miles or Peter would just like stand there, like a cutscene was supposed to go, instead of taking me back to the open world, the character stand there with no head. Very few bugs, very minimal. The people that are talking about all the bugs are just watching the montages. But I also finished Phantom Liberty. I actually spent 100 hours this month playing through Cyberpunk from the beginning. I got really far into the story, and I thought, you know what? I don't want to do the whole thing anymore. I already did it. I got to say this really carefully because it's important, but the ending of Phantom Liberty resolves like the full story for you, like depending on how you make decisions. I guess there's like 8 different endings, and I got this ending where I was just like kind of like sitting back, and I got like really emotional, where this resolve of my character, my V, came to this resolution, and this I can't say. I mean, there's so many different endings. I would love to be able to talk about it, but I thought, oh man, just imagine. And it really, they did such a great job. What a redemption for Cyberpunk. Yeah. And then I started Alan Wake 2 last night, and the game literally opens up in the opening minutes with you controlling a bloated, naked fat man walking up a mountain hill in the middle of the night with his buttocki crack, the buttocks. Just yeah.
And I was like, that wasn't a secure. You sure that wasn't a security video from outside Gaz's apartment?
It could have been after he gets back from one of the buffets. Yeah, but played that game till about 12:30 at night. I go, oh great, I get to go to bed now after something happens in a morgue. But people are really excited about Alan Wake, and it's running better on the Xbox Series X or the PS5. There's like 2 extra FPS. Mag, this is actually a topic, but I'll get through it really quickly. We haven't even really started the show, but it's using mesh shaders, which is a full RDNA 2 feature that PlayStation 5 doesn't have, but you're only getting 2 extra frames. You're getting basically the same resolution. I don't know what that means for going forward with the new features as developers want to use hardware-based mesh shaders for geometry instead of using software-based solutions. But we may see a difference going forward, but I mean, we've still been in cross-gen for a while. So,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yep. George K from Japan. I just want to say shout out to that, to listening to us for all the way from Japan. And he was saying that Dead Island 2 is not available on Xbox there in Japan. That's very strange considering that's
censorship wise or what? Must be.
I don't know, maybe, but I mean, that seems kind of weird. I mean, they sell used panties in in machines on the street. I mean, if you could do that, why can't you play Dead Island 2?
I'm not familiar with the vending machines, but
yeah. The vending machines that's a thing. Anybody knows anything about Japan? Yeah.
If you're saying only on Xbox is not available, that's super weird. But darn, what
that
a
is
great
kind of
game.
weird.
Lord
Yes.
Starkiller gifted 5 memberships to Zero Cool, Shine Films, Ice Cold, Ruben89, and Nuno Mateus. Thank you very much for doing that, Lord Starkiller. And we also have Boss Mod Lethal Pop-Up.
Can you say it properly, Colteastwood?
This is my first time being on a mic. I apologize. Boss Mod Lethal Papa joined a channel membership. He's been a mod here for 3 years, and he must have re-upped, so I appreciate that. I also should read out the channel members really quick. I didn't do that last week, but we got KY Bob, Assassin, Lupa Genesis, Newt Box, Ricky Falon, Hargit Johnny, Jason Lewan, Lord Senator, William Riggs, Farscape, Matt Houston, Chance Wolf, Zimic, Happy Bomb, Yodani Kazada, Suicide King, Robert Jackson, Dante Moody, Betamax, Stark CMF, Septic Sauce, Zener White, Devario 2 Gaming, Wreak Havoc, V Simcoe, Assassin, Poochie Dub, Raiden Blade, Acute Perspective, Risk for Biscuit, True 77, and Michael Ford, Red Source, Attitude Deer, Dave's Games, Pen Apple Pen, Trail Roberts, Macbound, Meat Puppet, Red Wolf, Alan Adentre, Gamer by Choice, Jedi J. Golan Rippin, Highlander, Techno Caveman, Fire 71. I try not to rock in my chair, but it's just so nice. That Blue Number, Kung Fu Hot Dog, Uncle Chowder, Shooter, Tex Made, VMAC, Cliptos, B. Martin, Sith Lord, Good Old Collingwood, Lawrence Davenport, Dead Time, and KJ Wars 85. Thank you for supporting the show. Let's talk about the big news of the day, Mag. Quantum Error, a PlayStation exclusive by default, coming first to you with the power of the SSD. Launched a first-person shooter. What do you have to say about Quantum Error, Mag?
It's got a lower rating than Risk It for the Biscuits Tinder account. So I mean, it's got to be. Oh, sorry. Hey, I don't know what's going on with me tonight. I'm out of control. Listen, I just noticed that he showed up in the chat. I had to do something. I mean, what am I supposed to say? But anyways, let's carry on.
Well, before we get to that, hit the like button if you're enjoying the show. This is episode 123. YouTube's got a new thing on the PC browser or the web browser that when the number changes, it actually rolls up like a old counter, like I don't know, like an old clock counter. So if you hit the like button, you'll see the number go up, like it will vertically change. Does that make sense, Meg? You're seeing it right now, and we have 728 people watching. That view count also is dynamically. It just 4 people just left when I said that. That view count is actually dynamically moving up like a ticker tape or like a ticker clock, which is I just noticed it the other day, which is super cool. So shout out to you guys for being here. Let's yeah, Quantum Error got a 45 Metacritic.
Yes.
What do you know? Like, what have you kind of listened to some of the stuff that's gone on today about it?
I know some people aren't a fan of the guy. I think the guy's fun. Marlon Gaming was talking about it today, and he was cracking some jokes about it and just say it was trash and whatever else. And I saw a little bit of footage of it. I'm like, It didn't really deserve much of my, like, I hate this is going to sound so arrogant, but it didn't really deserve a lot of my attention. And as a result, I'm just like, you know what, pass. That's all there is to it. Just let it go and just kind of walk away from it. I kind of felt like you know when you just see something and you just immediately turned off and you're just like, all right, you know what? I have so much stimuli with YouTube and TikTok and Twitter X and obviously family life and everything else that I got going on and work and my career and blah blah blah. If there's anything that's subpar, I don't have time for it. I'm just gonna be like, you know what? I'm just gonna walk away. So I just walked away, and you could instantly tell. Like, you know what this gave me a vibe of? You remember that game that came out earlier this year, that bloody Golem game?
Oh yeah, Harvey Johnny played the whole thing.
He what? He
with a
played
smile
the
on his
whole
face.
game?
He was like,
Did you enjoy that, Hargeet? I think you should send us $100 super chat and possibly a universal or whatever, a global code for Alan Wake 2 for myself as punishment for playing that game.
just
anyway,
DM it too,
listen,
Mag, so you know
yeah,
your Donnie,
just DM it to me.
The Sosa doesn't steal it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also trying to get my hands on a Dragon's Lair cabinet, so you know, super chats, just send them.
That's a quarter eater.
Dude, I know. Well, not when you own it. So that's
wasn't that $1 back in like 1988?
Dude, it was so stupid. It was like 50 cents in the 80s, and you died in like 4 seconds flat because if you make one wrong move, you got squished by a boulder or whatever. Anyways, this game, it's a hit. I mean, sorry, it's a swing and a miss. A hit. What the hell am I talking about? It's a swing and a miss.
Skull.
And that's all there is to it. No one's gonna remember it. It's done. It's over. There's no.
Can I say something about that,
yes.
Meg?
Yes.
Quantum Error, 45 Metacritic, one of the lowest rated games of the year. Somebody in the chat, I won't say the name because they're a good friend of the show, but said that, you know, Marlin Gaming was bashing the game today, and somebody kind of made a derogatory comment about Marlin. Like, Marlin's pretty much kept it, from what I've seen, he's kept it pretty much 100, you know. He calls it when he does. He praises when it should. I really like the guy. I think he's got a lot of charisma. I like to have him on the show because I think he's a fun guy.
He won't do it. He won't do it.
Some people just don't want to have like the PlayStation guy on the Xbox show, but we got Mag.
No. Yeah,
Mag
okay,
likes
thanks,
PlayStation.
I like PlayStation too. What the hell? I mean, I own everything. What the hell? I'm wearing an Xbox hat. Yeah, pony. Yeah. Whatever, pony.
There's what I was going to say, Mag.
Yeah.
Right.
Jeez, it's not cardboard, guys. It's a real Xbox.
I got a Series X, buried behind $3,000 worth of cabinets.
But hey, listen.
What I want to say about this, I was thinking about the Quantum Error thing and how everybody was, making fun of it. Their Xbox fans were getting blocked by the account because I promise I'll get to my point. Here's what happens. Early this morning, Quantum Error devs know that Metacritic is coming out. They're on social media. They've had a presence with fans, and they're watching their game get panned by every reviewer, every content creator. And then you've got some Xbox fans who are like, well, if you would have made a good game, you wouldn't have had to deal with this. And they were blocking people. And yeah, I don't blame them. The point that I was getting at was when Crossfire X came out and it was doing horrible, I was like, I just got to step back because I'm never going to play it. I heard enough before it came out. I saw the reviews before it came out, and I was like, and you just probably, I don't think you ever saw me talk about Crossfire X. In fact, you wouldn't even see me talk about Pentiment, which is like an 86 Metacritic, because I didn't like it. I played it for an hour. Xbox sent me the early review code. You won't see me talk much about games that I don't like or don't want to play. And I talked a lot about Spider-Man 2 on the 2 shows I was on this weekend. So no, I won't invite Red Dragon. I don't think he'd want to be here. He wouldn't have fun.
I would have a great time with Red Dragon. You know what? By the way, my screen for the chat finally showed up because I was having an issue and it was lagging behind. So now I'm catching up on the chat, guys. You are hilarious. The stuff that's going on in that chat now, I can't even concentrate because I'm looking down. They're like, Mag's wearing an Xbox hat but PlayStation undies. I think that was C-Note. You know what I mean? And by the way, I just want to do this on the air because I never say hi to him in the chat because his name is spelled so ridiculous. Timmy, I love you. I've seen the guy's been in the chat saying hi to me for literally years. I'm gonna say hi to you in person, all right? Because to type out his name, it's like an X something and then Timmy in capitals and then an X and then something else. I'm like, I don't have time for all that stuff, so I'm just gonna say hi to you like this.
And everybody sign else, and then a cosecant sign. Yeah, I've seen Timmy everywhere. I see him in every.
Yeah, Timmy's
chat.
everywhere, man.
It's like we said a couple weeks ago. Like the people we see over here for me in the chat.
Yeah.
We see, I was on Gaz's show for 5 hours. I wanted to die. I was starving. I was on Fonz's for 2 hours on Sunday.
I was on a show. Yeah.
We see these. Well, that's what we're saying. Like, we see all these people, right?
Yeah,
Everywhere.
yeah, exactly. I mean,
it's awesome.
5 hours with Gaz. I mean, 5 minutes with Gaz, I'm already ready to kill myself. But anyways, let's carry on with the show. Sorry. I mean, I've been watching a lot of Rodney Dangerfield. Just the jokes are flying tonight. Right. Anyways, the game sucks. The next topic.
Yeah, that's kind of perfect. I mean, you're not going to hear me talk about it much more than that, but yeah, it's not going on my Open Critic chart. I'll tell you that. It's not, man.
You know what? Listen,
it's not included.
PlayStation misses too. You know, they don't always have like that. You know, the 88 and above Metacritic games. They're going to have crap. I was about to say something far worse. You know, they have crap games too. It just happens. What are you gonna do? I mean, then they had two stinkers this year. If you include this game, and then if you include Forspoken, both. And then of them
Babylon's Fall the year before, and Xbox had Crossfire X and another third party. Yeah, Redfall was their game, and then there was something else. I think Xbox, had exclusively that they didn't make. Yeah, you got like the Gunk. The Gunk didn't score well, but gosh dang, I'm glad I kind of played that game. It was an interesting.
I never actually played it. C-Note, calm down in there. This guy's out of control. No, sorry, C-Note. I apologize. It was Silent Cypher.
Where's C-Note?
No, C-Note's fine. C-Note's fine. C-Note's fine. It's Silent Cypher.
Shout out to the porn bot. I haven't seen him in a while.
Hey, porn bot, you come go disco dancing and cocaine, yes?
Hey, cousin Nico.
You want prostitute, huh? Sorry, Silent Cypher is saying his mag is using the PS5 as a booster seat. I'm not that short, you know. I'm 5'9", okay? I'm not a giant, but I'm not like, you know.
He sits on the PS5. We just have to look at his belly button the whole show. Thing's a tower.
I love it. Naked HD, shout out to Naked HD for sending us a bunch of Russian sex bots to the show.
Only on X and C will you get HD Norp. Only here, you know. None of this 480p stuff.
We do cocaine, vodka, and hookers, yes? Prostituta.
You play Metro for 5 hours. What's his name?
I know guys who are actually like that, eh? Like, I actually know Russian guys who talk like that. I mean, they're well connected, so, you know, don't laugh in their face. You will probably be dead. However, they do speak like that. It's like straight out of like John Wick 1.
Somebody in the chat asked me to bring up... Speaking of Russia, somebody in the chat asked me to briefly bring up Indira Beyond the Veil, the game I played at PAX in July. And it's like kind of a run-of-the-mill cover third-person shooter. Looks really great due to like easy to access assets from Unreal Engine 5. Check out that video. I put it out late last week, and it kind of give you a glimpse into what really small devs can make. That's basically what the message I want to say. Really small devs can make, excuse me, they can make amazing AAA looking games because of Unreal Engine 5, and then it's up to them to make all the magic happen behind the controls and story-wise and stuff like that. So, we'll get the next topic I want to get into is a brief one. There's actually two kind of negative Xbox news items this week. Third-party accessories, mostly controllers. I think this really comes down to controllers and adapters via USB are being completely blocked after a 10-day period of you can use this for now, but it will be blocked soon. I don't know if you heard about this, Mag, but
I did.
It is really an effort to stop people from using third-party controllers that are adaptable and moddable for aimbots or rapid fire or whatever.
I have no problem. Then I have no problem with that. I don't think that's a negative to me. If people are going to be using it for nefarious reasons, then I think that it's totally great. If that is indeed the case, then I have no problem with that at all. If people are going to use it for or mod it for specifically those reasons, like the scumbags on the PC, you know, when they do with the aim bots and all that nonsense, or you're playing Call of Duty and like guys are running through walls like an X-Men, you know what I mean? And all of a sudden, I'm like, what is happening? You know what I mean? Like, I can't stand that stuff. That's why I play nothing multiplayer on PC. It's ridiculous and it's stupid. If they're trying to prevent that on the Xbox, Godspeed. You know, go for it, man. I'm totally down with that. And just keep it on the 100, and that's all there is to it. You know what? And if that's going to be closing the doors a little bit on third parties, then so be it. Then that's the way it's got to be. It's not the end of the world, really. I mean, you could get controllers for less. I mean, they cost less than a game, and they last you, theoretically, unless you're a bloody baboon, they should last you for years. I mean, I still have my Series X controller from the launch day, and it works perfectly fine. I'm still using it. I have like 7, 8 controllers there I've never even touched.
Well, on Xbox consoles, I would think we don't know anything, right? We'll just pretend like probably 80% of the users are using a standard Series controller or Xbox One controller on their console. And then there's all these really popular mainstream consoles. Shout out to Special Nick in the chat who waved at me a couple times. I just saw him. Shout out to him. He's enjoying his nice Tuesday morning over there in Australia. And they run a great show. You have to check it out on Saturdays if you're in the west side of the world. They're on Saturday afternoon. But anyway, and he calls me a scumbag, which fits. Anyway, the point being that there's probably a pretty big list of controllers that are supported. They can't be wireless, as Xbox doesn't allow other third parties to make wireless controllers, which I think is completely stupid. But there must be a nice short list of nasty devices that Xbox has seen do nefarious things, and they're trying to crack down on that. But still, the whole choice thing that Xbox usually boasts, it kind of flies in the face of that a little bit. But
you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But if they're trying, I'm not defending a corporation. You know me. Right. But if that is the reason, then God bless. Then go ahead and do it. If that is specifically the reason. If the reason is to be more like Apple and closing the door on anybody, shout out to USB-C in 2023. You know what I mean? If they're trying to do that, then that's a little different. If they're closing the doors on everybody. But the doctor, Massa's not going to give you your panties. Jesus. Sorry.
Somebody in the chat, can you help us out? Like, I've never really looked into it, why the wireless protocol, I think it's like a Wi-Fi Direct that Xbox uses for wireless controllers. Why is that not available for third party? Is there some sort of security issue? Like once you have wireless contact with a device, like you can access something else and maybe break open a gate somewhere inside the console. Security wise, I don't know. Or is it another cheat thing? I have no idea, but
that's what I'm asking. Like, what's the name of it? Kari Taylor here, or Carrie Taylor in the chat said fighting game and racing game communities will be affected by this. You're not wrong, and I will address that directly. You're not wrong. What I'm trying to say is that if it's trying to stop people who are trying to cheat, then I understand. But if it's not, if it's just them closing the door on third parties because they want you to spend more money on Microsoft products, then that's a scumbag move. So I agree with you, Carrie Taylor. I agree with you that you're right. Too. That's not fair, and I think that that's wrong. Now, do we actually know how deep this goes? Does that mean all third-party peripherals? Like, you know how some people like to use those, those arcade...
Xbox actually has a listing. You can buy a product, and it'll have a little sticker on it or an emblem that says it's an approved product to use on Xbox consoles.
Okay, so that will still continue to happen.
It's probably a very large list of usable items on the Xbox consoles.
So this might be, at the end of the day, this might be the kind of thing that maybe you buy at a flea market for like $15, and then like, you'll be able to mod it or do something stupid with it. I don't know. Who the hell knows?
Maybe, but when he or she is talking about fighting sticks, like fighting pads or steering wheels, like there are several very popular steering wheels that are probably on the approval list. So we might have to wait until we hear some big community speak up about this becoming a problem.
Yeah. But reach out to us, guys. If anybody knows like what happens, like if it's going further than that, but besides Colt and I, reach out and let us know, even if it's in the chat. We look at the chat, we read everything. So I'd be interested to know how deep this goes. You know what I mean? Like, pause. Anyways, I was just gonna. I just want to know, you know what I mean? I want to know how far of a reach this is that this is actually an issue. I don't think they're going to be making waves like that, to be quite honest. Yeah, because I mean, if they just released Forza Motorsport, can you imagine saying, "Oh, by the way, you can't use your steering wheel now"? Like, I don't see that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there are a ton of mainstream supported devices, but I will close this subject by saying you have to understand they're kind of fighting for the games as well that are supported, multiplayer. Or otherwise, because I'll use this analogy. People hate food analogies, but if someone is pushing your customers out of your restaurant, You're going to make sure that person doesn't have access in. And when you have cheaters, like if you're playing Overwatch and you feel like there's people who are just aimbotting all the time or using some popular exploit that people are talking out on some Reddit forum somewhere, I've heard people literally say, I'm no longer playing Rainbow Six Siege, or I cannot play Destiny online anymore because of the cheaters. And what happens is Bungie for Destiny's like, you people using these devices are costing us customers and our time and money. So that's what's going on. Speaking of money, Xbox Brazil said they are going to basically double the price of the Series S in Brazil. But according to news that dropped 10 minutes before the show, Mag, the Xbox price has been reverted on the Brazilian site back down to its normal price of, 2,400 reals, or I don't know how to say the name of the currency. We went through this the other day. But they basically essentially wanted to double it to the price of the PS5 digital, which Brazilian fans of Xbox in that region, Mag, are saying this is going to kill the Xbox brand and make it unattainable and inaccessible for them with this price point. Before I give you the mic on that, they're still not convinced that Xbox won't turn around and just do this price jump anyway.
Okay, so can I then get confirmation that it actually wasn't for tax reasons? Because I heard, I put up a tweet the other day. I'm not going to repeat the tweet because I was swearing a lot. However, there were a couple of F words in there. Anyways, the point is that what I was trying to say is that, people in the comments section of my tweet were saying, because a lot of people came by and checked that out, and they said, it's because of tax reasons or whatever else. But if Xbox has reversed it and reduced the price, then can we now confirm that it wasn't because of the tax then? It was specifically from Microsoft raising the price?
You mean the tax that Xbox has to pay to have that product sold in Brazil?
Correct.
I mean, there's
a tariff. There's a tariff that goes on to
a tariff
goes on to those products, whatever.
For export.
Well, and that's the thing is, though, I had questions and I couldn't get anybody to answer me. And the questions were this: before, occasionally, before I fly off the handle, I like to know, every single bit of it, so I don't completely look like a fool. And my question was, why is it just that console? Did any other consoles go up in price? Did the PS5 go up in price?
It's
Did
weird.
the Series X go in price?
Yeah,
Did the Series S smaller one go up in price? If it's just the other one, then
Series
it's not taxed.
The Series S Black with the 1 terabyte didn't go up. The Series X didn't go up. Both PS5s didn't go up. But Steam increased prices 54% this week. And then people were saying there is a dollar value differential that's going on in Brazil right now. And I was thinking, well, maybe it's a matter of time where they bring the Series X up as well. And PlayStation's like, we got to fold. We can't take a hit in that market just to try and stay global. And that sounds like I would be defending it, but it looked like they reverted the price. Well, I saw Idle Sloth showed the source. They put the price back down to normal on the website an hour ago. So I don't know what's going to happen, but Brazilian fans are adamant that they are going to bring the price back up. And I don't know why they would do a temporary pacifying of that, but
that doesn't bode well, man. My initial gut feeling was they raised the price because they have no choice. Not Microsoft. The customer now has no choice but to get digital games because they no longer support physical games in Brazil. So now you can only purchase digital. Yeah. Therefore, you're only one avenue. Well, not one avenue. I mean, you know, eventually you're going to be able to get Game Pass on everything, and smart TVs and everything else like that, whatever, tablets and all that kind of stuff. But I would imagine in some parts of the country, the infrastructure is probably not that great. So you're going to probably need physical hardware, right? As opposed to using cloud or whatever else. So that being the case, your only choice is to buy a PS5, a Series X, or a Series S. And if you're going to be going all digital and you go with the Series S and they jack the price on that because you have no choice, that was my gut feeling. I felt like my gut feeling told me that they were painting the customer into a corner, which is not a great move.
No.
If that's indeed the case. I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying that's my gut feeling before people fly off the handle. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying that's my gut feeling that that's exactly what was happening. So I'm like, well, if that's what they're doing, and remember they did the same thing. Remember a couple of years ago when they raised the Xbox Live price? And they did that. Why? Because they were trying to squeeze you to go into Game Pass because they're like, well, get all these people off of Xbox Live. We'll make it unaffordable.
Smoke us out. Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to smoke you out and force you to go into Game Pass so that they can bump their numbers before the next earnings call with the investors.
That's exactly what I wanted to say. Is it's so important right now because of social media and how we're so connected to the leadership and the pulse and of communications for these brands. It's so important that we all stand up, do not damage control, speak out and say this is unacceptable. These prices have to go back. You cannot do this to the brand. You can't be doubling the price of Xbox Live. You can't double the price of a Series S in one market. It's really bad for that market. And so that's what I wanted to say. It was super important. I put out a tweet. I had tons of Brazilian accounts sending me DMs, replying to other tweets to pressure me. And I'd already put out the tweet hours before. And I'm like, yeah, I hear you. I got it.
You had a bunch of Brazilian accounts?
Yeah, like Xbox Brazil fans, content creators. Yeah, messaging me or replying on my tweets. Like I'm talking about some game. They're like, Colt, you need to do something about this. And I said, I put out the tweet this morning, and somebody DM'd me and said, can you reach out to somebody to Xbox? So it's like, I don't know.
Yeah. I was on Instagram and I saw a bunch of Brazilian too, but it wasn't. They weren't accounts. Anyways, carry on.
What the heck? Brazilian barbecue? So
yeah, obviously. Carry on.
I know it's a half a week old, but I want to talk about just a couple of little highlights from this Xbox third-party event. There were like 3 games I wanted to talk about. One of them looks like a Hi-Fi Rush style game called Icaro, and it looks like Hi-Fi Rush. It looks like it's got timed combat. It's the same art style. It's from some small studio. I don't know if you got a chance to look at this. This event. Did you see the Icaro game?
Yeah. Now I didn't see if it was going into Game Pass or not. Was it?
It's not. And I'm like, why?
Okay,
yeah.
So that to me, that's a bit of a miss, and it's a bit of a miss, especially if it's a smaller studio. You could probably afford the day one. Let's face it. It's not like you're asking for Jedi Survivor. What did they ask for? Like $300 million up front for day one for Jedi Survivor to go into Game Pass. Remember they released that list of what the companies were asking for to put their games in there, right?
Yeah.
Anyways. This is not EA, right? This is a much smaller studio. I'm pretty sure they could afford to do it. If you're going to showcase a game like that and you're trying to push Game Pass and you're not putting it in the Game Pass, that's a miss. I'm not, if the game is great, but you're going to put it behind that paywall, people are going to start going, well, why am I in Game Pass then during these lulls? Let's say, in between like first party games and stuff like that. If you're not plugging in other games that you're showcasing, then what are you doing? What are you trying to promote?
Yeah, I mean, you're showing
this. It seems bizarre to me.
Yeah, you're showing this Icaro game that's got the Hi-Fi Rush combat, but it seems to have a little bit of the Jet Set Radio traversal in the game.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're partnering, you're marketing this game for. I'm like, why didn't you go the extra mile and pay, couple $100,000 or whatever to get that sucker on Game Pass?
That's what I'm saying. It's not Capcom. It's not EA. It's not a big company that's going to demand millions and millions, tens of millions for the game. They're obviously going to be just jazzed that they're going to get a bag at the door, and then the game's going to be on Game Pass, which of course brings them more exposure. And if the game presumably is releasing on, let's say, PC as well, then you're getting that exposure on Steam, right? So if the game is hot, it's going to sell well on top of the fact that it'll be on a subscription service that you're exposing to more people.
Yeah,
so,
if you're only on PlayStation, you can pick up that game on your console, like you said, or you can get it on PC. But yeah, it's like I don't know. I don't know why they didn't do that, but this whole idea of having easier state of play, easier to kind of put out there state of play events. I think Tina Meany took over that position, or they started this new position for her to help push out sponsored or streamed events or showcases for games. And I think they decided to do this state of play type thing, which I think is a really good idea because people really like those. There's a couple other games I want to talk about in that listing, but this is a good way for Xbox to just say, hey, we're selling these games on our platform too. And it's like, man, this is the time to continue to say, look, how many, maybe it's not a good idea to put Icaro in Game Pass when you know you're going to be loaded with Activision Blizzard stuff. early next year. We're going to talk about Activision and Blizzard in a minute. Let me the show's fluctuating. Let me know if we're having buffering problems. I noticed it was kind of going up and down a little bit, and I don't know. My internet's usually amazing, but we got Boner Jams. Thank you so much for the 5. He says, evening to Megalodon and the Pimp Terror Colt North Lumber. The sexiness tonight from Colt with the coat. What's good for Halloween, boys? I'm wearing the Starfield coat. Yes. And where's the patch? There's the patch. I was at the post office today. You remember those places? And anyway, I was some guy behind me said something about
stamps.
No, I was shipping something, and and somebody behind me said something about Starfield, and I was like, what? And he goes, is Starfield good? And I turned around, it was a guy about my age. I go, oh yeah. He goes, I like the code. I go, yeah, Starfield's great. 200 hours into it. It's great. Build your own ship, fly all around the place, and it's really cool. And he goes, what's it like? Like, what would you compare it to? And I go, Fallout in space. Have you played Fallout? He goes, I love Fallout. And then he went off about how he like almost he almost lost his job because he played so much Fallout. He loves it so much. And I thought, well, that's fortunate. But yeah, good discussion with that guy about Starfield. Red Wolf with the 2 says, in your opinion, will Alan Wake 2 get a physical release?
No.
Not at all?
Well, what's the point now? I mean, it's already out there digital only. I don't see a physical. But did they explain as to why? Did they explain as to why they released digital only? Like it just, or do they just not want to spend the extra? Or is that like saying, "Oh, we're keeping the cost down by just doing it digital because it's $10 cheaper"? It's back to what I like to call the last gen prices.
Yeah.
On games. So is that? I mean, that's a possibility. Magnum Westward. Listen, he's saying not every game has to be on Game Pass. Don't be a tight arse, Mag. Listen, it's not about that. It's not about that. If you're marketing Game Pass, here I do it with a crayon on a piece of paper for you.
I wish you had like the grease pen on the screen.
I know. If you're marketing Game Pass every day, you're trying to get people into Game Pass every day, and then you have an Xbox showcase and say, "Hey guys, check out this game," but it's not on Game Pass. Does that sound normal to you? That doesn't sound normal to me. That sounds insanely the opposite of what you're trying to promote. It doesn't make any sense. Anyways, that's all I was trying to say.
I'll just add that if you're marketing games and doing specific events like in between the interim, why aren't you using Game Pass for that? There was some Game Pass reveals there, or not reveals, but maybe they were. But yeah, there were half of the games were Game Pass. I thought, because most 80% of the games they show in their showcase are Game Pass, but this is something different. And I also think of this as a test bed for what they're about to do. Make sure this works out. I
don't like how they can control the prices though. That's where the problem. It kills a third-party market.
When you talking about price, when you're talking about physical or what?
Yeah, the physical and digital thing. Sorry, and some people in the chat are going crazy about whatever. Anyways, Jay. You missed what I said. He says, "What are you talking about, Mag?" You missed it, so you have to rewind it a bit. Anyways, there is a problem that I have with digital only. They can literally just control all of the prices from there on in, where it kills like a whole third-party market. You can go to Facebook Marketplace right now and get used disc games for like $30, right? $20, whatever, because some guy's trying to unload it. Or go to GameStop and get that. I got what the heck is that game? What's the name? The whatever Wonderland. The one that's part of
Tiny Tina's Wonderland.
Yeah, that's it. Tiny Tina's Wonderland. My God, I couldn't remember the name. I got Tiny Tina's Wonderland for $13 in the store, right? Yeah. And I looked on the actual digital store. It's still $89.99, and the game's been out for like a year and a half. So they can literally now dictate whatever. There's going to be no third party selling. You can't sell the digital copies to anybody.
Yeah,
right?
and 2K sets that price on the Xbox console, and then they set a different price on the PlayStation. They just kind of
you shut it out.
Yeah,
you basically shut out any option of being able to get the game as for cheaper, unless of course they put it on sale. But then when they put it on sale, they could still be like, the best you're going to get is 20% off.
Yeah.
Like I looked at Final Fantasy 16 the other day. You know how much it costs in Canada? $93.50 plus 13% tax. So it's like $105 or $106 still to this day. The game's been out for 7 months now, 6 months, whatever it is.
Jeez.
And It's just sitting there at $106 Canadian, at least in Ontario. So, you know what I mean? But I can go to Facebook Marketplace. I can buy for $40 from a dude up the road.
And get stabbed. It's great. I'm gonna hit the brakes on the show for a second because JV Smooth in the chat says, how is Xbox dominating this generation? Laugh out loud. Curious, friends. I did. That's the thumbnail. And believe it or not, I'm walking on air. Believe it or not, there is more to the gaming sector than just one piece of plastic. And I'm going to talk about that today. Meg and I are going to talk about what's going on right now with Xbox versus PlayStation. There's a little bit of bad news in there. There's a lot of good news. Let me kind of kindle the fire for a moment. Just bear with me here. Right now, Xbox is selling their games on PC. They've got Game Pass, which is really profitable. They just got ABK. They're about to show record revenues. They're about to make every dollar off of PlayStation with Call of Duty. They're about to have some of the biggest, highest selling games with the most monthly active users. And if you're sitting there waiting to see which console sells better, I don't know how to tell you this, but Sean Layden told you a couple of years ago that the console market is a niche market. And we're going to explain throughout the show tonight about how Xbox could be in place to dominate the gaming sector and lead, as in guide the market where it is going to go, which is going to be better for everybody when it comes to getting better choice and better bang for your whatever your currency of choice is. And that's what we hope we get with Xbox making these big acquisitions. Right now, I don't know how much of this, I know, Mag, you're probably keyed in, but right now, PlayStation is being pressured to make a retaliatory, if that's the right word, acquisition on top of the ABK closure.
Yeah.
I don't know where to start with this, Mag, because there's a lot to how Xbox could be dominating this generation. I'm going to start throwing some stuff out, and then I want you to kind of talk about it. Xbox's roadmap is twofold compared to PlayStation. Xbox is promoting and bringing people up in their sector of their leadership. PlayStation is letting people go and firing people and early retiring them. There's a lot going on. What is your expertise in this subject, Mag? Where do you want to start?
Yeah, I was going to say, where am I going to start with that?
Pick one that sounds the most exciting to you, I suppose.
I'm going to start with I'm going to start with the pressure to purchase from the PlayStation side.
Good, okay.
I don't think they need to. I think that their strategy works for the market that they're doing. And then some people say, oh, well, it's going to be outdated at some point. Sure. But Nintendo's business strategy has literally not changed since 1984. So it's just the same thing. The only thing they added was some digital being able to have some digital content, which doesn't take off quite nearly as much as the physical market still does for them. So therefore, I would say 90% of their business model still runs off the 1980s business model. So yep. PlayStation can do the same thing. And as long as they're producing a consistently good product, then they'll be just fine. And that's it. They'll go do their thing. Microsoft, on the other hand, we've known this for quite a long time, that Microsoft always has this forward-thinking vision of where the technology's going and everything else like that. You remember when Kinect came out and everybody was losing their minds that they were going to listen to you and they're going to watch everything and this is not the future, and DRM, remember all that nonsense? And everybody else losing their minds. Well, they were just so far ahead of the curve at the time that people just didn't understand the technology. And guess what? Fast forward to today, DRM, everything's listening to you. They're watching you sleep. They're watching you. You know, they're like Santa Claus. Okay, he knows when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. The phone knows if you've been naughty or nice and all that stuff.
You talk about making out with a lamp, and the next day you have an ad for lamps like all over your internet browser.
In lingerie, I'd like to add.
Yeah, sexy lamps.
Yes, sexy lamps. I love lamp. Anyways, here's the thing: is that. That's where the technology went. So if Microsoft is pushing the technology in the direction they're going in now, then guess what? In the next 5 to 10 years, that's exactly where it's going to end up. Now, not everybody needs to follow their lead. They can go wherever they want. As long as their business model is making money and they're making a ton of money, that's fine. Great, whatever. As for the layoffs,
not everybody has to follow Microsoft or Xbox's lead? Is that what you're saying?
No, in that specific market, no, you don't.
Yeah.
If like I said, because Nintendo is proof of the pudding that you really can just go do your own thing and you can be incredibly successful.
Can you say Nintendo is proof of the pudding in your ASMR voice? For the doctor, he wants to hear it.
Nintendo is proof of the pudding, and the pudding we're going to be making today is a butterscotch pumpkin spice pudding, and we're going to be putting some chocolate shavings. Yes, 35% whole milk chocolate is going to be shaved directly on there, and because we're such ballers, we're also going to be shaving on there 20. Colt, I can't do it without laughing.
I gotta say, Meg, that butterscotch pudding sounds so smooth. So smooth, in fact, if you could just shave a little bit of your chin into there just to add a little bit of a crunch and a texture, I would just love it.
Absolutely. And speaking of shaving, go to the website.
Go to butterscotchshave.com.
Butterscotchshave.com, as well as Manscaped. Manscaped for all your manscaping shaving needs.
We don't even have a sponsor on here, Mag. We need a sponsor. Go ahead.
What?
So yeah, you're saying like Nintendo.
Come find us. Anyways,
nobody's copying Nintendo, and they're like leading the market.
They're doing their own thing.
Yeah,
they're doing their own thing because they're like the McDonald's of gaming. I mean, they have a consistent product. No one's saying it's always. I mean, maybe that's a bad analogy because McDonald's has really lost their way over the years. But I'm just saying in terms of like who they market to and stuff like that. I mean, you've got adults all the way to like 4-year-olds lined up outside for for all their games and everything else. They're doing great. If PlayStation wants to continue doing what they're doing, and if it's making them money and they're successful, go for it. Mm-hmm. No one says you got to go down the same road. Like that's like, you know what I mean? Like that's like, hey, proof of the pudding. Once again, is like in the chat. If I say something someone doesn't like, there could be what? There's 951 people here in this chat, by the way, right? Yeah. If I say something someone doesn't like, you're gonna have 10 people that are going, Meg, right? And I'm like, that's fine. You could not like what I say. And I still respect where you're coming from, and you should respect where I come from, and that's just the way it goes. So the same thing goes with business. If Microsoft wants to go down the digital road where you make it accessible everywhere, and they start dominating in different areas, whatever, and they're bringing in more customers and more money, that's their goal. As long as you, as a customer, are happy with where they're going, then I say go wherever the hell you want to go and do whatever you want to do, as long as you're happy doing it and you're not hurting anybody. And if, like I said, as for the layoffs, I wanted to briefly touch on that.
Yes.
I have a theory, and it may not be a great theory, but I mean, it's a theory that at least I can, and it's not something that I'm happy about, but it's something I've seen over the years. And let me just scale it down. Instead of like a large corporation, let me scale it down to like restaurant size, when I used to be in the actual on the floors in restaurants or whatever, running restaurants, whatever, that kind of thing. What these people, especially corporate, what they used to do when corporate would open a restaurant or let's say a location of a chain or something like that, like a Kelsey's or an Outback. I don't even know if you guys got Kelsey's down there, or a Boston Pizza or whatever, right?
Dang, I need to move to Canada.
Oh, dude, we have the best places. Okay, let's take one. Applebee's, okay? American Applebee's, all right? Or the pancake place, IHOP. Okay?
You're not going to name a restaurant that people love, but go ahead. They hate everything here.
Hey, it's just like
to your example. We digress.
Yes.
Digress.
Yeah. So the thing is, look at the chat. Look at the chat. Will PlayStation make a multi-billion-dollar acquisition soon? So far, 77% says no. When you'd open up a corporate restaurant, they hire 30 people with the intention of keeping 15.
Oh, really?
Okay. So that's standard practice, and that's not just restaurants. That's everywhere. That's office buildings. That's, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter. That could be marketing firms, law firms, anything like that. They will overhire, you know what I mean? Handpick whatever. People will leave. People will go. Or if the people stay, then they have to start shaving off whatever. And so they always hire 30 with the intention of keeping 15. So they shave off about 50% of their initial hire.
I forgot where you were going with this point.
This was what I was getting at with the layoffs.
Oh, the layoffs. Okay, yeah.
Right.
ADD. It's fun.
So the reason why I brought that up is that I'm not saying it's the right thing to do. I'm just saying this is what happens. This is just a reality. And this could be, and I'm not saying that this is what Sony's doing, but this sounds like that's what they're doing. It sounds like they overhired. They got a bunch of projects off the ground, and now they're starting to shave off people as the projects are getting closer to release. And it's disgusting because there are people that have to pay for kids. They got to pay for their houses. Yeah. They got to pay for their cars. This is not a great economy for anybody. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter where you are in North America, like Canada, the US, we're all suffering. You know what I mean? We're all getting hit hard. Nobody wants to pay triple for eggs, but that's, but here we are, right? So
yeah, and at the beginning of the year, Xbox laid off some people, and then not long after the Bethesda thing was complete, they laid off some redundancy people, which really sucks. The reason why Mag and I bring this up is today it was reported that 500 people across the games industry have been laid off over the past year or two, and we are seeing record amounts of money and investments being made in an industry that is now bigger than movies and TV, being the video games industry. So It's not right. Before we move on, I'm going to read a couple supers here.
Go ahead.
Matthew with a Canadian $2 says, you were pitching Indira as it is coming to console. Yes, I talked to the developer who is from Russia and lives in Cyprus and is working with other people in Eastern Europe and some parts of Europe. And he said they would like to come to console. They want to come to PC. They want to go to Steam. They want to go to Epic. They just need a publisher. So once a small game like that gets published, more than likely it would be coming to console. But I also talked to him and he said once their official announcement and reveal trailer is ready to go public, then I can start shopping that to people through my connections, and hopefully they can get it over to somebody who can look at it like Matt Booty or Sarah Bond, and maybe they can see it and go, hey, what's it going to take to get you guys off the ground? So that's a really good thing. Risk for the Biscuit goes, how does Mag know I got a Grindr account? Thank you for the Australian 3. I mean, look at him.
I know.
He's the handsomest guy in Australia. I mean, how does he not?
Oh, yeah, exactly. I know you. I know your Grindr account. Anyways, did you want to continue with this? Because I was going to say I wanted to kind of compare apples and oranges, not apples and apples and oranges here. Didn't Microsoft lay off 10,000 people earlier this year?
Yeah, I think at the beginning of the year. And then, not at Xbox, but in Microsoft.
No, in Microsoft. Yeah. So we're talking, that's just Microsoft. Apple laid off I think 11 or 12,000. Disney was 25,000.
Epic laid off a bunch of people, even though Fortnite is so massively popular.
Sure, but so is IHOP. So IHOP is massively popular, making billions of dollars. Yeah. But when they open a restaurant with 30 people with the intention of keeping 15, it's the same thing. So I think that, like I said, it's not great. It's not great, and it sucks because let's say you pour your heart and soul in something, or we're not seeing the whole picture. We don't know who's being laid off, right? We don't know. I doubt it's the guy who created this and created that. Oh wow, you just made us all this money from all your amazing things. By the way, you're fired. They probably wouldn't do that. Yeah. It's probably like you were saying. You were mentioning before. There was some redundant sort of jobs where you had two people doing the same thing.
Yeah, there's community managers being laid off because they got acquired into a company that already has community managers. I saw one from Bungie. Well, this also is news because Bungie laid off some employees. We don't know how many yet, or at least I didn't see at the time of starting the show. And one was a community manager who said that he had a stable job forever and now he's got to go look for work. And maybe PlayStation was like, we appreciate you, but we've already got someone doing your job, or somebody at the PlayStation or SIE is going to be taking care of what you're doing. We no longer need you. Also, we have to come to this understanding, Mag, that a lot of things doubled in price, but the employees' number count stayed the same. And but then, they're making more money for the product they're making because they had to bring more, they had to raise the price of stuff, but not everybody's raising prices. So we're not economists here, but hashtag support the devs. It's really important.
Sure. I don't want to see anybody lose their jobs. I don't want to see anybody lose their jobs. That's horrible. I mean, if I don't want to lose my job, but you don't want to lose your job. Nobody in the chat wants to lose their job. I'm just telling people like it is. And the thing is, what sucks is that I have to quote Samuel L. Jackson that if my answers frighten you, then cease asking scary questions, because I'm just giving you the truth. That's exactly what happens in these worlds. I'm there because I'm in it. I see it. In the corporate world, I am part of it. I am not the guy who does that. I'm just saying I see it, and that's part of the game. And it's unfortunate, but that is the truth. And I think that that's what's going on here. I think a lot of people trying to turning into buzz pieces and stuff like that, or like clickbait articles or this and that. Play
The sky's falling.
Sony's going down. Yeah, like Sony's going out of business because they're laying everybody off. I don't think that's the case. I think it's just restructuring to cut the fat, so to speak, or trim the fat. Excuse me. I'm old. Sorry, I get my sayings mixed up. That's just like my dad.
Cut it out.
Yeah, like my dad will say ridiculous things like, "You're swimming on thin ice, young man," and I'm like, "How do you swim on thin ice,
That's
Dad?"
my
And then
dad.
before I can get the sentence out, I already got a shot right across the mouth. Anyways, but no, he never hit me hard. But anyways, in all
Harder.
seriousness, harder. That's what I think it is. I think it's a non-story. Like I said, it sucks, and I feel bad for everybody losing their jobs. Obviously, this is not the economy to lose your jobs. There's a lot of people not sleeping at night from the stress. I get it. But I think that's exactly what's happening. I think it's just a restructuring and trimming the fat to move forward. And
Well, doesn't it appear so that PlayStation is in trouble? They fired Connie Booth, who pushed out 150 hit games. She's quite old in the industry, but like
36 years.
36 years. I mean, that's when you're supposed to get the heck out of there, I suppose. But the report is that she was told to go. And we're very certain, based off of all of the conjecture, speculation, and reports, and with Jim Ryan, that he was asked to go. Post Up, who is somebody I follow on Twitter, wrote a really good speculation report on what he think happens. He says that Jim Ryan told the investors everything's going to be fine, told the regulators that they were hurting for money, told the investors everything's great, flew back and forth and promised PlayStation. This is speculation, but it tells like such a great story that sounds so believable. This is why it's such a good read. But he tells the investors one thing, tells the regulators the sky is falling. Then he promises Sony and PlayStation leadership above him that he's going to get the deal blocked. Don't worry. I don't know if that's really how it happens, but he promised them the moon and the stars. He didn't get it blocked. And it just seems like an inopportune time that right after the deal is officially closed that week, Jim Ryan's like, I'm tired of flying. I'm going to go retire. And so my friend said it doesn't matter when Jim Ryan would have retired, Mag. Xbox fans still would have said he got fired because of the ABK closure. Months after, they could have still said it. But a week after, it was a little weird.
Little weird. Magnum Westward is striking again. What age is too old to get the heck off YouTube? I'm assuming he's talking about me. Just before you send an insult, make sure you spell properly. Too old is spelled T-O-O. Okay, not just T-O. But thank you, Magnum Westward. Thank you very much. You get a double horn for that one. Carry on, Colteastwood.
My favorite is when people say, "You're stupid," and they write it like this.
Yeah, Y-O-U-R. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't even type.
You're such a loser.
They'll say, "You're stupid," or "You're such a loser," and they'll use the wrong "your," and I'm like,
my
hey, man, fourth grade was fun. Or grade
whatever,
4.
Meg. You're such a loser. L-O-O-S-E-R. And I'm like,
I'm looser.
And I'm like, so I always respond with, "I'm looser," like your mom. I don't know. I go for like 11-year-old jokes. So,
Or if you're Alex, you say your dad. Highlander001 gifted 5 channel memberships. Thank you so much. And for those of you that do join the channel membership, there's a low entry price, and it gets you into early access. Like you automatically get notified, or there's a whole segment where, hey, here's my video 12 hours before it goes up. I don't know if that's a great privilege. I think it's pretty cool. And then those people get to comment before everyone else. First, second, ninth. Eternal Blaze, welcome to that channel membership access. You get the Joanna Dark picture when you join. Sir X-Men with the $2 says, the controller issue pushes more people to Xbox PC. I don't know. I don't know about that. I mean, my guess of 80% of people are using a standard controller, or maybe 90% are using an approved controller. Is probably not that big of a deal, but Xbox needs to be careful about optics as well. Grandpa's Barbecue or Gamer Cat with the Australian 5 says, I love it every time. Don't entirely agree. He says, I have a 7+ old Cronus drive hub. I forgot. We didn't even bring up, this includes, I said it in the beginning, but it includes USB powered devices. So he says, I have a 7-year-old Cronus drive hub so I can use my Thrustmaster PlayStation wheel on Xbox. I'm sure it only is specific for wheels, though. I don't know if that Cronus thing is, you're going to have to check. But yeah, that was another thing we didn't say, Mag, is people use it to use PlayStation controllers on Xbox, but then people use it to use a certain controller that's really good for exploiting the console. Risker for the Biscuit with the $3 says, double the Game Pass price, support the executives. Sarcasm at its best, but yeah, I always get funny when people say they support the devs, but then they do the opposite, or they say, or you know, it's a good joke Risk is saying here. Spartan661 with the 5 says, the Series S is all around the world. It is compact, and it is in the next step into next generation gaming, having a screen to make it portable. Yeah, the X screen's awesome for the Series S, Spartan. Risk It has another one. Thank you for the $8. He says, Colt, can we double the membership price? And he's more sarcasm, and donate the funds to get Mag some heavy duty anti-age.
You know what, Risk It. I'm going to let that one go. Go ahead. Have fun.
Although
Enjoy.
He says we do want him around longer. Anti-aging cream. Wait, that stuff keeps you alive longer?
Yeah, no kidding, right? Yeah.
Speaking of anti-aging cream,
you can only see my wrinkles when I smile. The rest of the time, if I keep a stoic face, I look like I got Botox. Look.
Hey, on this show, I think we're just small enough on the screen that people can't tell how old we are, except for this. I do have this, and I love it.
I still got to wear a hat. I mean, I'm bald, but I mean, what the hell's the difference?
Just so you guys know, Mag told me, do not shave your head. If you have any hair, just hold on to it. And I'm like, why don't you hold on to it?
I don't want to hold on to your hair.
Can you hold my hair while I throw up, baby?
Yeah. Oh, Jesus. Yeah.
Can you imagine that? Like, there's not really much to hold on to, but good luck.
Risk it. I love you, man. Risk it. I love you, buddy.
Love you, bro.
I look forward. I look forward to listening to your nonsense every single week. Speaking of holding on to hair, I went to a Christmas party. There was this girl dancing and the dance floor with my wife was there. They're hanging out, whatever. And you know how girls do? They go to the bathroom and blah blah blah. And anyways, I'm waiting for my wife. It's like near the end of the night. I'm waiting for my wife. I'm like, honey, I'm like knocking on the door. She was in there for a while, and I'm knocking on the door. I'm like, what's going on in there? Everything okay? And all I can hear is this. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? So I kick open the door, and I'm like, honey, you're not throwing up, are you? And she goes, and she's got the stall open, and there's the girl that was dancing next to my wife, and my wife is sitting there like this. And holding her ponytail as the girl is just projectile vomiting in the toilet. It was just
fantastic. It sounds like a turkey.
It sounded like a turkey, like being chased in like a big buck hunter. It was like, and she looked so bored, just like this, leaning and holding her ponytail and looking at the sky, like, oh my god, would you stop vomiting? Why did you have so many cocktail weenies? Pause. Anyways, carry on, Colt.
She's looking at her hair, going, I wonder if I dip that in paint. That would make a great brush. Me, I would be like this. I would like, can I still use my phone while I'm holding the hair?
Yeah.
Because I'm bored and I'm going to check Twitter. Never thought I'd hear that story on the show, but yeah, that's a good one.
You brought up holding hair with vomiting, and I'm like, I had to tell that story. Carry on.
You got to tell it. Highlander001 says, hey, Colt and Mag, I game on PC, and I cannot get PC games on physical media at GameStop.
Yeah, that's true.
Best Buy or mail order. It's been that way for years. Yeah, you can't.
Hold on a second, though. But Steam has epic sales.
Oh, of course.
They have epic sales. I mean, you could get a game like you can get like Assassin's Creed Odyssey for like 4 peanuts and like a bag of flour. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can.
Yeah, I was looking at the Batman Arkham games because I only own Arkham Knight on PC, and all of them were about $3 to $5 a piece. And I was tempted to just get them all because I was thinking about making a video about. Oh, this is so dangerous. About how amazing the Batman Arkham games are, but apparently I'm not allowed to talk about any other superhero games until Spider-Man 2 completely gets out of the way. But unfortunately, Mag, Insomniac plans to put out a Spider-Man game every year since the first game came out. I mean, they kind of almost have. And there lies my joke. 2018 Spider-Man, 2020 Miles Morales, 2021. Well, every other year they put out a Spider-Man game. 2021 was the remaster and PC, and then 23 is too. So every other year they put out a Spider-Man game, and just as they sent the game out, put out the final patch, went gold, sent it out, everyone loaded up their PS5s. They're like, we're thinking about making Spider-Man 3. It's like, slow down. You got to get Wolverine out. So anyway,
they also talked about DLC too. They also said that they're going to release like a Miles Morales style DLC where it's going to be like a half game, and then they're going to do a Spider-Man 3 on top of Wolverine. And I'm not kidding. They just talked about it the other day, and they were asking people.
It actually might be better than
Venom.
It might be better than making another Ratchet and Clank, because I'm not sure Ratchet and Clank is a big seller for them. I think they sold like 1 to 1.5 million copies of that game.
It's a shame. I love that game, but
yeah,
either way,
it's fun.
That apparently is the story. They're going to be doing some kind of a Miles Morales style DLC. I'm talking about in terms of length, right? Like a smaller, more focused story, and then they're going to do a Spider-Man 3.
Who was going to be the main character in that? It was going to be Haley, Miles' girlfriend.
We don't know. We don't know. It might be. They're also talking about Venom and stuff, but we're not going to get into that because I haven't finished the story either, so I don't know what happened. So,
right, okay.
We will not talk about it, and of course for anybody in the chat who hasn't finished it. So, anyways, carry on, my friend.
The whole chat's like, please don't talk about Spider-Man. Please don't.
No, we're not.
They were doing that last week and on other shows.
We
I
had
get it.
to.
I get
Come on, it just came.
What are you gonna miss? You already played 9 Spider-Man games. Joseph Robertson, thank you for the 5. Says Matt Booty is the one who fought to keep first-party games day one on Game Pass when Xbox executives were trying to take that away. A pro-consumer executive. I'm not aware that Matt Booty was pushing for first-party games in Game Pass, but if that's true, he's a stud. Danny Passion Official with the 5 says, thank you, Danny. He says, hey guys, which are your third-party Game Pass day one releases? Top 3. Mine are APT, A Plague's Tale. I've never seen it written that way. I think he's talking about this past year or two, but his favorite 3 are A Plague's Tale, Requiem, Lives of P, and Outrider. Gosh, I have to think what came to Game Pass.
I can name my 2.
Name a couple of them, that came to Game Pass day and date that you really liked.
My 2 favorite by far, I would say Outriders was number 2, but number 1, the best game I played on Game Pass, I think in the last couple of years, would have to be Psychonauts 2. Psychonauts 2 was my 2021 game of the year, or was it 2022? I can't remember what year it came out. 2021. It was in the fall of 21. That was my favorite. That was my favorite Game Pass game in years. Absolutely adore it.
Not a third party game, but I also am having a hard time thinking of third party games that came to Game Pass.
It was only third party? You saying?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I thought he just meant games in general. Sorry, my bad.
That's all right. When you read it when you hear it without reading it, I can't think of. I didn't love Outriders like you guys did.
I loved it. I had so much fun with that game. Outriders, Rage 2, I thought was great.
Yeah, and he's naming games that drop day and date as well, but I think he pretty much named the biggest ones that came day and date.
The show, MLB The Show, that was great.
Oh gosh, I played the crap out of the past 3 of them.
Death's Door, that was another good one. Thank you, Dr. Dingle. That's a great game. That was fun.
Is the chat writing some in there? Because for some reason I'm blanking on a bunch of Outriders. Atomic Heart. Sosa says that game sucks. It was okay. I'm glad I played it though. I was enjoying it at the time. Some stuff was really frustrating. The Ascent, Kid Smooth says, yes, I freaking thought The Ascent was great.
I forgot about The Ascent.
Put it on easy. Yes. It is such a great game to just blast through.
That was such a good game, man. I adored that game. I did the whole everything in that game. I went back, did all the side quests, everything. I really enjoyed that game. Sorry, I totally
Sea of Stars came out. I haven't even touched Sea of Stars, but they loved it. Wolong Fallen Dynasty, Kid Smooth says. Yeah, there was a bunch of
I was
bunch of games that I didn't. High on Life was great. That was third party. High on Life was really good. Like I said, 20 minutes.
High on Life was fun.
30 minutes just sitting there at the courtyard watching the TV. Loved it.
Our Rob just mentioned Ori. Forgot about Ori.
Yep. Ori's first party, but
is it?
Yeah, whatever.
They're not first party. No, they're just outsourced.
I think Xbox owns the Ori IP. Yes, they do.
Oh,
yes.
the IP. Okay,
yeah. It's one of those things. Yeah, it's one of those things.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
North Star Killer says Sony's net worth is $98 billion last Friday,
all right,
down from a peak of $156 billion in 2021. A 37% loss of net worth is an alarm, he says. I don't know. There does seem like there's a little bit of issue, but for us to sit here and say that PlayStation won't do what they do and get those games out when they're finally ready and just come right back to where they were. I fully expect that. Phase 23 Brooklyn, New York with a $20 super chat, and Blazoned Orange says, at Colt, he wants me to answer this one. Consoles are niche. That's why all reviews are on PS5 and PC, not Xbox. Well, PC's not a console. Games are sometimes not optimized great for Xbox. That's not true. Lately, most games play and look better on Xbox. He says games getting delayed on Xbox because of features. Where's Baldur's Gate 3? Coming at the end of the year because of the Series S to blame. But yeah, he says developers prioritize PlayStation. Yes, they do, but consoles are still niche. And I'm going to take Sean Layden's word, Phil's word, the industry's word that consoles are niche. There are, I'm not going to pull up the numbers. I had the numbers in a great cultivated tweet reply to someone who told me that PlayStation is so popular, it's not niche. What's that?
I said cultivated or cultivated?
Cultivated. Yeah,
no, we have to create a new term now.
Cultivated. Yeah. It's funny because if consoles aren't niche, the Nintendo Switch is kicking the PlayStation's rear end. If you're going to say consoles aren't niche, the PlayStation or the Nintendo Switch is the king of plastic. And really, it's kind of a handheld, and handhelds are getting popular. Mobile and PC are the top revenue draws. They are where most of the monthly active users are. They're where most games are sold. So PlayStation is really popular. That's for sure. But you know what? I'm really popular in a very small niche of 5 people. How's that? Amongst my 5 friends, maybe I'm just a little bit more popular than somebody like Red Wolf. Maybe. Who knows? What does it matter? And shout out to Red Wolf. Good friend. Colin Prime says, Cole, I've been rewatching episodes of The Greatest American Hero on YouTube. I have never, ever watched a minute of that show since 1983. So I wouldn't even know what that's like.
Yeah, it's pretty, it's funny, but it's pretty bad.
I really like that detective guy. He's got that great gritty smile. The detective friend and the charismatic main character. I forgot his name, but great theme song. We won't talk about it because 95% of people don't even know what that show is because we're so old. Nintendo Switch Face says Nintendo Switch is an 8th generation console. It is, and it's still mopping the floor with the PlayStation. It's crazy. And when the Nintendo Switch comes out, the second one, it's going to be a big deal. Really big deal. Unless they mess something up, like put a kickstand on it. I don't know. They're not.
They're not going to. They learned their mistake.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen again.
I got to talk about. Xbox has a new possible reveal. BlizzCon is coming up this Friday at around 10 or noon on the Western Hemisphere. And that's BlizzCon is where Blizzard shows off everything they're doing, updates to games, new reveals. And it is very, very possible that we will see a reveal and we'll know whether it's multi-plat or exclusive for the new Odyssey, the survival RPG co-op game from Blizzard. What do you expect from this? It's been a while since I played a fresh Blizzard game besides Diablo.
Besides Diablo, you know what though? If you look at Diablo is pretty fresh because it only comes out once every 10 years. I think it's winning a race between Grand Theft Auto 5 and Grand Theft Auto 6. Magnum West, we're at it again. Mag loves watching reruns of Alf. That show was terrible. Thank you, Magnum. Appreciate it. That was a good.
I don't think I would do that to set myself to that.
Oh my God, I'm gonna eat your cat. Anyways, it was a bizarre show.
What was his? He had
he used to try to eat the cat.
Yeah, and he was
always trying to eat the cat. Yeah, I don't remember the catchphrase. I don't know. It was weird. It was a weird show. Anyways, Odyssey.
Gordon Shumway.
Odyssey. It's going to be interesting to see. I know that there was a little bit of a kerfuffle. Sure.
Hold that. We have 900 people watching. I haven't even reset the show. This is the XC Podcast. You're listening to Mag, middle-aged game guy, and all his charisma talking about Blizzard and the new possible Xbox exclusive. I'm Colteastwood. You're watching this on YouTube. Hit the like button if you're having a good time. If you've learned something, if you're enjoying the show, if you like hanging out with an amazing chat, we really appreciate it. Get that number up to 500. And if you watch the number as you hit the like button, it goes up like an odometer. Like when Mag used to drive his mom's car and she goes, "Where did you take the Oldsmobile?" And he goes, "I just went to the store with my friends. There's 37 miles on it." What did your mom drive before you talk about Odyssey?
She drove, if you can believe it, back in the 80s, she drove an Iraqi Malibu. It was yeah, I know. Trust me, guys, look it up. Just Google it. It was a real car.
Iraqi?
Back in those days.
How do you spell
Iraqi Iraqi, like I think it's like the country, like Iraq. Like Iraqi Malibu. That's what it was called.
Okay,
and then,
I'm scared.
Yeah, go check it out. I don't know what
they made them into taxis?
That was the name of the car. I guess. Okay. Yeah, that's what she used to have.
Gosh, it looks like a Chevy Citation. Whew,
yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was the 80s. Come on, man. It was, very few people thought Trans Am. I thought the greatest car in the world was the Trans Am with the big eagle on it. I love that. I still love that to this day. Still is hot. It still is hot. But I mean, why did everybody have to buy brown? That's the only thing that drove me nuts in the 80s. But anyways, besides all that, Odyssey. I don't know much about it. I know that there was a kerfuffle late last week because I think one of the devs said that he accidentally put I can't wait to see this game in 2027 or something like that. He put something like that in the and then it was like then he had to go back and say no, it's not coming out in 2027. It was a mistake.
Yeah, he said it was like he was explaining like what his portfolio or whatever, and he said
okay, that's what.
And then they redacted it. I forgot about that.
Oh yeah. It was
Boba Fett says Canadians have weird car names. I think that's what it says.
It's not a Canadian car. It was an Iraqi car, I guess. I guess GM sold it, right? General Motors.
Terrible show. It says on this article from The Drive, terrible Chevy Malibus to Saddam Hussein. The 1981 Iraqi Malibus.
When you turned on the air conditioning, it would literally blow your skin off. You'd just be like a skeleton sitting there because it was so powerful. But because I mean, obviously they built it for the desert. But anyways, after that, then we drove Audis and
dry ice in it.
Yeah, Audis and Acuras and stuff. That was later on. But yeah, the 80s was all about the Iraqi Malibu. Funny enough. Anyhow. Odyssey, don't really know much about it. I was looking into it. I'm excited to see what they got coming next. It's their first new IP in God knows how long, because what have they been doing, really? Blizzard has been basically focusing on supporting World of Warcraft, Overwatch. And Overwatch 2, and then, we'll just call it the Overwatch world, whatever.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Diablo,
and
right?
not Heroes of the Storm, which I guess fans really like, but it didn't get his support. But I'm hearing it's quite colorful.
Yes. Yeah. So
I'm not allowed to say much, but I think somebody is 99% sure that it's going to be shown at BlizzCon. So that's when we'll know if Blizzard is truly ready to push for as many monthly active users across any way they can get the game, or if they are just going to say, hey, let's if Xbox says, hey, we need Game Pass boost, so the only way to get this is on Xbox PC or Game Pass PC.
I doubt that.
Are you thinking it'll be multi-plat?
I think it will be, because at the end of the day, Blizzard specifically is more interested in the monthly active users, right? And why shut out theoretically up to like 40, 50 million people, right? So you don't want to close the door on that. I don't know. I'm just speculating. I mean,
also,
they're going to be
if they're showing the game in 2023, the ink isn't even dry on the contract. And they're going to show the game Friday for a release in holiday next year. To me, it seems way too early for that to have been completely encased off to only stay on the Xbox platform. But we've been wrong with even Bethesda. They had games in the works, and basically Phil didn't break contract. Like, I feel like if they could, they would have, pushed that game only on Xbox.
Sure.
We'll see.
I mean, it'll go day and date on Game Pass. There's no question of that, because then that'll be the draw, right? You want people to go into the ecosystem or whatever, and you want people to in Game Pass, and you want to boost those numbers. That's what it all boils down to at the end of the day. If you're putting stuff in the Game Pass, your goal is to get more monthly subscribers. That's all your goal is to do. Not just to satisfy the people that are already there. You're trying to, grow another 5 million on top of that, depending on how big the game is, or let's say 2 million. Okay, 5 million is a little bit ridiculous. Let's say 2 million. Same thing with Starfield. They even mentioned it. Like, they want more people, and they wanted to, when they launched Starfield in Game Pass, they said Game Pass numbers went up. significantly, right? And that's
Yeah.
exactly what you want to do. So they're going to launch this Odyssey game in a Game Pass, so it'll bring the numbers up, provided that the game is good, and I'm sure it's going to be good, because Blizzard, they do a great job with their games. I know Overwatch, there's a lot of people are sort of mid on the Overwatch 2 situation, whatever, but
yeah, they didn't.
there
do
are other
much.
games, they stand the test of time. I mean, like even Diablo 4 is doing well. Like, it's got that new thing that they just launched. Jez is back playing it again and stuff, and he's talking about how much he loves it, and everybody else is playing it, that are in the community. I think it'll be great, but I don't think they're going to lock it down to Xbox and PC only. I think they're going to put it everywhere. And don't be surprised that if technology provides, you might see it on a Switch too. And I don't see why not. I don't see why not, because they're launching COD on Switch, right? In the future.
In the future, yeah. The next COD probably after this one, yeah.
So if they're launching that, then I don't see why you wouldn't launch this either.
So I'm going to make a prediction based off some of the things I've heard that this game is going to look like Overwatch, but fantasy-driven, very colorful, very vibrant and clear and sharp, and mostly first person with some third person animations. I would like to see a third person game, but the idea of a very sharp feeling game like Overwatch is, where it's not just, team player against player, like an adventurous game where you're in and you see your character throwing spells out or swinging weapons or whatever. Sounds pretty cool, knowing Blizzard's high production values. Odyssey could be a big deal. I guess
I think so too.
Yeah, and it does sound cool, but as Xbox fans are like, where's that exclusivity? But I just think
you don't
if they're
need
ready
it.
to reveal it Friday, I think it's just too early for Xbox to have said, you know what, just keep doing what you're doing. This one's gonna just status quo, and I can't argue with Xbox on that. Like, they didn't know when this deal was going to close. If they were planning on revealing this at BlizzCon Mag, that decision was made a year ago or months ago. And the pivot at this point, I think Xbox has so many games. I showed that roadmap graphic a couple weeks ago where Xbox has 21 some games already officially announced. And I guess they don't have to have an exclusive, like, they don't have to. They're not that desperate. They have so many games coming. So, yeah.
I don't think that anything that's going to have a multiplayer, and I've said this before, I'll say it again. I don't think that anything that has a multiplayer component is going to remain exclusive to Xbox. I think that anything that they've acquired that's going to be like a single player experience, that's going to be like your Indiana Jones from the ZeniMax acquisition, that kind of thing, that will remain exclusive as they've already said. But I think anything that's going to be multiplayer, that's going to grow the community, I don't think they're going to close the doors on that. And that includes your Call of Duties. That's going to include your World of Warcraft. Well, not World of Warcraft because it's not really on consoles. But your Overwatches, your Diablos, this new Odyssey situation. This Odyssey thing could take off, man. You never know. It might be a phenomenon for all you know. Like, I mean, if a game like Animal Crossing on Nintendo can have people lined up in the middle of a pandemic, then anything's possible, okay?
Well, I mean, but Blizzard's games, I think all of them except for Heroes of the Storm have been just blown out the door, and they just have this longevity, and they just spread far and wide like wildfire. And it's a good, you nailed it. It's such a good prospect to think that this Odyssey game could be a really big deal. And maybe it's like
it could be. You don't know. Like, who the hell knew when they were making World of Warcraft, Colt? Who knew that was going to be a phenomenon where people were going to be on Oprah talking about their addictions?
I mean, if you
World
took
of Warcraft,
I don't remember when that game came out, 01 or 03. If you took early 2000s Colt and showed him that game and said, this is going to be the hottest game for the next 12 years, I would have went, huh, okay, great.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
And same thing with Fortnite. Same thing with Apex Legends. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Like, their games are like I used to play Fortnite with my son here and there, and I was just like, and I had some fun. It's not a bad game, but it's just when you look at it, you play, you're like, how the hell did this become a global phenomenon? But it does, and you never know. Odyssey might be a global phenomenon, so why would you close the door? You're not closing the door. And I got to tell you right now, Xbox camp, be prepared for the fact that a lot of those games, anything that has a multiplayer component, ain't going to be exclusive. But that shouldn't matter to you. The only thing that should matter to you is that you're getting your money's worth when you're paying for your Game Pass subscription. And that's what you're going to get at the end of the day, because all those games are going to come to Game Pass. And if you're paying for it, then who cares where it's going?
That's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
you bring up Call of Duty on the
Ouya. Like,
you bring up that whole thing where you're like, oh, Call of Duty's not exclusive, or Odyssey didn't end up being exclusive. You're getting that basically for free in Game Pass, and Xbox is going to sit back and make so much money off of Call of Duty and Odyssey and those other games, where that's going to spill back into the overall. Satya's like, we're doubling down in gaming. And I know right now Satya's sitting back, where's my cigar? And he's like, we're just printing money out the door. It's just going out like that. It's just lines of just the stacks of cash. We got a lot of cash just coming right out. It's just moving right along, right? We got trunks of Iraqi Malibus full of cash.
Whoa, Iraqi Malibus in 2023, yeah, solid gold.
Can you imagine? They got like mint condition a fleet of Iraqi Malibus in the back lot, just full of cash. But in all seriousness, hey, shout out to Pushing Polygons, who's here in the chat.
Yay, what's up, Pushing Polygons? How you doing, buddy?
He is a channel sponsor. He's up on the top right corner. He put out 2 videos where he showed the 19 or 17 inches of Venom, the statue, and he like turned it around with some cinematic music and lighting. He has a video showing that thing. It's like, oh, it's crazy looking. And he's also got the Spider-Man PS5, which looked lame in the pictures, but when you see it on camera, you're like, it's always like that with those consoles or those theme things. You're like, the picture's kind of like, meh. And then you see it on camera, and it's, you rotate around. And shout out to him. Check out his videos. He covers everything, all games. And no, this isn't a cigar. It's my eyeliner. I love it. And so
I knew it.
Risky guyliner, bro. Guyliner. I just got to say, I'm going to say something, and you'll know what I'm talking about, but I learned this morning how much of a rock star Mag is, and I got to tell you what, you'll know soon enough, but when you know, we'll talk about it. We'll come back around to the skin and say, Mag is so awesome. Hire him for your parties. He's great. Risky for the Biscuit says, I have to say Alan Wake 2 is my game of the year, and I recommend. Alan Wake 2 is quality. We're going to talk briefly about this, Mag. What will be the game of the year nominations? I have a list, but I think I want you to bang off 6. I need to take one out here because, shoot. Yeah.
How many do they have in the category normally?
Shoot. I have more than, okay, I got to take that one out. They allow 6 nominees for game of the year. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay,
you have 7?
I'm going to stick with this, even if it means an L. All right, Meg, I'm going to put your brain to the test.
Sure.
What will be the Game of the Year nominations? And as you write them, or say them, I'm going to write them in the chat. Meg.
I'm just going to say them.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say what I think is going to be coming. I'm going to say for sure, if they allow a remake, Resident Evil 4 remake. Okay. Hogwarts Legacy, Tears of the Kingdom, what the hell is it called? Baldur's Gate 4? Baldur's Gate 5? Whichever one it is. Sorry, 3. Did we skip 3? Baldur's Gate 6?
I wrote Badlers. Hold on.
All right, so back to the beginning. Resident Evil 4.
No, I got you. Baldur's.
You got
you got to keep track
Legacy,
as well.
Yeah, Hogwarts Legacy, Tears of the Kingdom, Baldur's Gate 3, and then that leaves 2. And the 2 are going to be ones that are going to be, they're going to have Alan Wake 2, I think, because I'm hearing a lot of great things. I haven't turned it on yet, but it's been one of my most anticipated
you have one more.
of the year. Now, here's where the controversy is going to kick in. And this is where it is. You've got 5 guaranteed Game of the Year nominations right there. Here's where it's going to get real spicy. Is it going to be Spider-Man 2 or is it going to be Starfield? They can only fit in one.
You're missing another one, though.
What?
Well, I mean, that's on my list.
4? Diablo 4?
Pick your final 6th one.
I can't because I probably lean closer towards Starfield than Spider-Man 2, but I can't see anything else. I mean, is there anything I missed? What did I miss?
Okay,
Chat, what did I miss?
All right, I'm putting in the chat that's his. Let me get mine. Super Mario Wonder is another.
Oh, right. Okay,
You
I forgot
can't
about
go
that.
just off of Metacritic review scores because I don't think the judges strictly go off the highest rated games. If that was true, there would be like 3 or 4 indies that True 77 says Redfall.
Redfall gets 2 categories for itself. They get the raspberry this year. Dude,
Okay, here's
got
mine.
95. Jesus.
Here's mine. Meg says, "Oh my gosh, people are. I mean, I think we're all in agreement on most of the list, like 5 out of the 6, right?" Meg says Resident Evil, Hogwarts, Tears of the Kingdom, Baldur's Gate, Alan Wake 2, and Starfield. My prediction is Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, Baldur's Gate. Well, I don't know why I pasted that way. Starfield, Super Mario Wonder, Spider-Man 2, Alan Wake 2.
Oh, you and I have the same 4 out of the 6.
Yeah.
There's 2 that are in contention, and that's where it's going to get interesting because I think that we can say without first of all, let's take it. Let's
Quantum
take.
error.
Yeah, right. Quantum error. Yeah, that's a big error. Let's take Hogwarts Legacy out of the equation because I have a feeling these guys are cowards, and we all know why.
And I want that one to like. I don't think it'll win, but I really think it's such a great game.
Warner Brothers, and J.K. Rowling don't give a rat's behind about the Game Awards. That is the biggest selling game of the year by far. It's made the most money of any other game by far in sales, so they don't really care. But I think that they won't nominate it. So let's, you know what? I bet you that they won't nominate it. You watch.
That they won't nominate Hogwarts.
Yep. And we know why. Because they're cowards.
I don't think that's really going to enter into why it should
win
or
so?
Not. I don't know, think
man.
so.
I think it might be a bone of contention with some. It might cause some, fake outrage and controversy. But I'm just saying.
Maybe. I feel like nobody really cares. I think people are outraged about J.K. Rowling the first of the year and maybe a little bit longer. But I think they've moved on to whine about something else. If I can be slightly rude, you know how when I say something outrageous, like when I say PlayStation put their games day and date on PlayStation Premium, and they will make more money than they do selling it by themselves. Like the PlayStation fans will ride me for 24 hours or 48 hours tops, and then they've moved on to the next idiot, and I'm one of the idiots, right? Let me. Okay, so I'm abbreviating yours. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. My listing was where is it? Oh, let me grab it here.
Still there.
I'm gonna put a poll up. I'm gonna put a poll up where I put our games in, and I have to abbreviate them so they'll fill because they don't let you have every as many characters as you want. But basically, what you're going to be doing is voting against my list or Mag's list. And
by the way, sorry, go on.
No, I'm just saying that it doesn't matter, but which one do you think is more likely to win? Don't worry about what you want. Pretend like...
that's the thing. Like a lot of people in the chat are saying, oh, there's better games out there. I'm not talking about what I think are the best games of the year. I'm talking about what I think is going to be nominated. There's a difference between nominations and what I personally like. There's Hi-Fi Rush out there. Might be someone's game of the year. I just don't think it's going to be nominated for game of the year. I'm just saying.
I think it'll be nominated for best art direction. Yeah,
art direction. Absolutely.
And I think Forza Motorsport might be nominated for best sports game.
Oh, that's right, because they put sports and racing in the same category.
My gosh, does this really not have spaces in it? Gosh darn it! Why did it do that?
Everybody gets what it is. Mine is the top one, yours is the bottom.
I was going to say it needed to be explained. Tears of the Kingdom, Baldur's Gate 3, Starfield, Spider-Man, Super Mario Wonder, Spider-Man 2, and Alan Wake. Yeah, it's really hard to read mine. I don't know why I did that. I had it all spaced out, and then
it's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to see what actually is going to end up. What were the differences between you and I? Oh, Super Mario Wonder and Spider-Man you put on yours, right?
Yeah, and I don't think Diablo 4 is going to get nominated in the short list. So I don't need Starfield to be nominated. It'd be nice for Xbox to get a nomination that they won't win. But,
oh, God.
But when I look at the listing, I'm like, is Starfield going to get nominated over Hogwarts? Yeah, I think so. I think if it became between those two, Starfield would get out ahead of Hogwarts. What is another deal breaker game?
There's another one we forgot. Final Fantasy 16 might be in there too. Like, I mean, I know some
it is really highly rated. Yeah, that's true.
That's a big one too. James Rucker actually pointed that out in the chat. He was just like, he said that might actually win art direction too.
I feel like,
and he's not wrong.
It just seemed like everybody wasn't super pleased with Final Fantasy 16 once it came out, but maybe that was just the circle of people that I heard from. We are quite a ways. We're over a month away from the Game Awards, but I think all the games are out that are going to get nominated.
Isn't the cutoff in like 2 weeks? The cutoff is in a couple of weeks. Yeah. So we're going to know. Okay, but so maybe not in two. So by American Thanksgiving, I have to say American Thanksgiving because we already had ours, right?
Yeah.
By American Thanksgiving, we're already going to know the nominations, right? Because they want to get that buzz out there. So by the second week in November is the cutoff. Probably within that 6 to 7 day period after the cutoff, we're already going to get those nominations thrown out there, right? Because they're going to want everybody talking about it on podcasts. Keely's not stupid. The guy knows how to get buzz going. And when those nominations come out, guess what, Colt? You and I are probably going to be talking about it for a bloody hour. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to be talking about the choices that they made and everything else. And people are either going to be happy or they're going to be outraged. And that's exactly what Keely wants. Because
there's also
any kind of news is good news.
There's a couple indies I don't even remember the name of that are really highly in the low 90s that came out this year. I can't remember, they were brought up, like Hargeet brought them up. You never know. The jury pool may pick one small game that is really highly received to fit in amongst the 5 other juggernauts.
Maybe it's the Hi-Fi Rush. Maybe Hi-Fi Rush will get that.
Maybe. I mean, it's an 88 or an 89, right? But there was a couple of like smaller indie games that scored really well. And maybe the jury says, you know what? The proper representation of what can be brought to gamers in this scene, where it's not just the big conglomerates making AAA cinematic licensed games like Hogwarts or Spider-Man. Something like a couple years ago with Death's Door was nominated, I think. But I don't remember what the name of the games are, but there's these little games that just did really well. And maybe they think this represents what gaming is. Because when you make fun of Animal Crossing is big on its own, but it's not like all the other games, and it really deserves to be painted in the entire frame of what we get to enjoy and what millions of people say really made their year. And I think as a jury pool, they should be looking at that criteria, not a Metacritic, but what did it do? What did it break?
What kind of an impact?
Yeah, and an impact, right?
What kind of an impact it had on the community. Dean Rivera, not wrong either. I heard some massive buzz about Armored Core 6. He's right. I mean, there's so many bloody games this year. Like, how are they going to narrow this down to 6 without seriously pissing somebody off? Like, not somebody, but like a lot of people off. It's going to be a massive, I think it's going to be a big news story this year. Game of the year this year is going to be a big news story. Usually, it's pretty damn obvious every year. Like, you've got 2-3 games and that's it, and the other ones are just like, not shovelware, but they're ones that they just go to fill in the ballot, right?
It's been like so big that even Forza Motorsport and Starfield's non-super high score, like, it's so funny because those games are still really great, but they're up against 8 to 10 games that scored even higher than Starfield. It's crazy. The year's been nuts, and they're still out here whining and complaining. Like,
usually it's like there's 2-3 games every year that you're like, oh, those are game of the year, and then everything else is just whatever, right? But this year is ridiculous. This year is ridiculous. Just when you think you've named every bloody game that's going to, basically make it to the top 5, top 6 for game of the year, all of a sudden you look at the chat, there's like 4 more that you forgot about. You're like, holy crap, what are they going to put 15 games in there? Like, how are they going to do this? I'm really, really excited to see how this is all going to go down, because it's going to be one of those get a bowl of popcorn and watch everybody tear each other apart kind of thing, as everybody freaks out about what got nominated.
I'm really mad about my poll because it's really hard to read mine, but it's half and half, and I'm trying to look at what was the differentiating factor. You had Hogwarts and I had Super Mario Brothers. Is that what the only difference was?
No, we had two differences. The other one was Resident Evil 4 was on my list, and you put what the hell did you put that was different?
Spider-Man.
Oh, Spider-Man. Yeah. You put Spider-Man. I put Resident Evil 4 over Spider-Man. That's just me.
I did such a terrible job with that poll. People don't.
Maybe it's not fair that they do that, but
I mean they're looking at like, did you ask him too?
That game was amazing, man. Resident Evil 4 was incredible.
Yep. I was talking to a friend who just talked about how great that. Funny enough, for those of you who haven't played Alan Wake 2, once you get started into the gameplay, you're gonna be like, oh, Resident Evil 2 or 3 or 4. Oh yeah, like the whole thing is like the mechanics, your inventory screen, and some of the way you interact. It's like, oh my gosh, that is identical. Like when you find a key on a table, and then you walk up and it says, do you want to use this item or this item? It is identical to the Resident Evil remakes. Like you'll see.
Yep.
And they totally ripped it off. And you know what? I'm okay with people ripping off stuff that everybody loves. I love that. And
if you rip off greatness, go right ahead.
Yeah, I feel like they're afraid to do it, but you and I have said that, right? We like it when they rip off good things.
Some of the best form of flattery is imitation, right? Because if you do it the best, why not do the best? Why not do what the best does?
You know what?
Right?
You know what I want, Mag?
So what the hell? Yes.
While we wait, I would love for somebody to put out a total Grand Theft Auto ripoff. Not like Saints Row, but like just trying to be like Grand Theft Auto with maybe a different setting or some sort of twist. Like, why not? Why not?
I mean, it's such a successful formula. I mean, they kind of do with Assassin's Creed, with the not the latest one, but the last couple of ones that they did, like Odyssey and Valhalla and what the hell was the one in Egypt? Origins. Like those ones, yeah. Like the sort of open world. Instead of cars, you had boats and horses, right? So I mean, essentially, it was the same idea.
Boats and hoes.
But boats and hoes. That's for after.
Well, what a day it's been. I wanted to do a shorter show. I'm glad we got to talk about the Game of the Year nominations. When that closes out, we're going to have a good time talking about that.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait for that discussion. Yes.
Oh, and this will be my surprise face when Starfield doesn't make it.
Yeah. I'm not going to be, I'm not going to get upset. But, oh, my God.
Starfield's just missing that little bit. Just that little bit that would have put it into the. Paul Tassi reported today that shockingly, after 2 months, the numbers are still really super healthy. People are still talking and playing Starfield. I just man, if I could just drop walls and roofs and floors and stuff and build, like I would still be playing that game and I would still be out there exploring. Look, because I thought I was going to go to planets and grab just armloads full of resources and then turn it into walls and lamps and decorative lingerie lamps and stuff. But that didn't happen. But maybe they'll have some DLC that's all about base building. But gosh dang, you should have done that at launch. Meg, it's been a great show. We appreciate it. We had over 1,000 people here. And thanks for you guys sticking around as we kind of fumble around with the news and try to learn from you, the chat. You're all amazing. This is episode 123. Hit your like on the way out. Meg, what is the game you're diving into this week?
Well, now that I'm rolled credits on Dead Island 2, I'm going to continue playing Spider-Man, and then I'm going to dive right into Alan Wake. I just can't avoid it. I know I have a list of games that I've sort of left in the back burner that I haven't purchased yet.
You'll love it.
But I write them down. I can't wait. And I write them down just so I don't forget because I'm old. You know what I mean? I can't just remember every bloody game that passed through. But either way, Alan Wake I'm gonna have to get into that this week. There's no way I can avoid it. I played Alan Wake Remastered, and it was wonderful. I played it this year. And I loved every minute of it. So I can't wait to get into this one. So that's what I'm going to do in between my swinging through NYC. So
be warned, I spent about 45 hours playing Spider-Man 2. I even, at a certain point, I tried to fast track to the end. That game has so much variety and content that it's very difficult to say, you know what, I just want to be done. It's kind of impossible. But I can't wait to hear what you think about Spider-Man when you wrap it up.
Oh, I want to roll the credits as quickly as possible so I don't get spoiled. because spoilers are out there, obviously. So I want to roll credits on it, and then I'll go back and do the completion later, because then by that point it doesn't really matter, right? But and I'm not going to read the chat because someone's going to write something in there.
James Rucker says, while you play Spider-Man, Mag, you have to take off the Xbox hat with a smiling emoji. Yeah. I used to I have LED lights behind my TV, and I used to switch them to the medium blue when I play on PlayStation. But right now I have them in Colt Eastwood colors, but anyway, it's still funny. Lethal Papa says 45 hours. Holy crap, Colt. Yeah, and I know he beat the game a lot less than like 30 or something. I think I saw his tweet. But yeah, I don't know. I am really notorious for walking around and just taking in the world. And sometimes I just fly around or drive around. Like in Cyberpunk, I would just drive and go to the shops and listen to music. And it adds up. Like every time I sit down to play, I just marinate in games. I love it.
Dude, that's why I go for those 100% completions. I don't do it to be a jackass. I don't do it to like show off. I don't do it for those reasons.
It's your excuse to stay.
Well, it gives me a reason for every ounce of the developer's energy that they put in that game, I'm experiencing. I'm experiencing every single thing that they've done, and the only way you could do that is by getting those 100% completions, getting all those trophies, getting all those achievements, getting that 1,000 out of 1,000, getting a platinum, whatever, right? And the only way that you could experience that is by doing that. And by doing that, you're experiencing every single thing that developer had envisioned and what they created and the thousands and thousands of hours that they poured into it. You are experiencing. Ripping through just the story and turning it off, you ain't experiencing nothing. You're just like, all right, that was cool. Next, like it's like a locust. I can't do that. I like to just really just take it all in, and you know what I mean? Just soak it all in, and so that when you're finished, you never have to pick that game up again because you have exhausted everything from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I do the 75% of everything. That's about usually what I do as far as completion. But like all during this meandering and just kind of getting involved in the world and sometimes not accomplishing much, but that's really how I've always played games. You'll never see a platinum trophy on my account. I don't think I've ever 100% an Xbox game, but if you look, I've finished a ton of games. But hey, play however the heck you want. But Lethal Papa said he got the plat in 20 hours, and I sat and played with my son. We shared through the game, like we took turns playing. Sometimes I couldn't get the controller out of his ding dang hands, and yeah, it was great. It was it's just I don't know. I'm glad.
I'm 15 hours in. I just looked on the app. I'm 15 hours in on Spider-Man, and I don't even think I'm close to the end of the story.
Yeah.
So, I don't know how the hell he platinumed it in 20, but that's remarkable.
This has been a tough year. You definitely have to just disown your family and lose your job so you can finish all the games. That's our sage advice to you as we wrap up the show. We really appreciate you guys. Make sure everything is all taken care of. Yes, we will be here next week. Who knows what will happen, but we will be back here. We really appreciate your support. Thanks for all you do in chat. You really add a lot. Mag, thank you for being here, and I hope to hear more from what you're up to and plans are in the future next.
What could that be?
Yeah,
that's something
what could that
new. What could that be? A new project on the horizon? Maybe.
Follow Mag on Twitter. I've got his Twitter account linked in the description, so you can go there, follow his account. You're going to see some crazy videos that he does. And also, you can follow me there on Twitter as well, where you'll see me being passive-aggressive and really, really nice to people. But thanks, guys. We're going to get out of here. Have a good night. Thanks again.